Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. The Miami Hurricanes land a massive commitment in four-star edge rusher Marquise Lightfoot, and this couldn't come at a better time. Obviously, losing out on Justin Scott last night stings, but this is a very intriguing player. We're going to get into the film and what he's going to bring to the table, but what I'll precurse with is you're getting a dude that is 6'5", 220 pounds, runs reportedly a 4.6 40, has extremely good length and get off the ball. Jason Taylor is going to have a blast developing a guy in Marquise Lightfoot, who you see, according to the 24/7 Sports Composite, the number 67th national ranked player in the country. Now, before we get into Marquise Lightfoot, then we'll talk about what this Miami class could look like in 2024. Just want to say thank you to the Miami fans. You guys truly have been absolutely awesome with all the support. I've tried my hardest to kind of cover all your guys' commitments, and the amount of love, the support, the engagement you guys have shown truly means a lot. And again, I say this all the time. I don't really get to talk recruiting in my day-to-day life, right? Not a lot of people follow recruiting. Those who do, those who follow it and get in the comment section, can't thank you guys enough for supporting the boys. So if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And for Miami fans, I think it's going to be a busy July, but we're going to talk about what this 2024 class could look like when it gets to December, when it's time for these guys to sign their names on the dotted line, because this is a program that if they start winning some games in the fall, like flip watch for sure. But let's get into Marquise Lightfoot first. Again, I want to get into his film because what he brings to the table is just really exciting. And again, you're going to see a couple of different things. One, you're going to see the motor. Like, this is a guy that you see that potential 4.6 speed that he has on the 40 when he chases down a backside play like this, a big-time motor. And that's something that Mario Cristobal has wanted. And Mario Cristobal has put an emphasis on the trenches in the defensive line, and he got a good one in terms of what Marquise Lightfoot can do, playing in space, beating tackles around that outside shoulder. A dude with a phenomenal get-off. And then this is a play that I kind of want to emphasize, hammer home, if you will. A guy that he's 220 pounds. He's got to fill out the frame, but he kind of wins with his speed. But you're going to see a dude that plays the run extremely heavy. He gets double teamed here. He works through it, gets a tackle for a loss. That's something that's rare for guys 220 pounds. Comes out with low pad level, makes a play. He's a guy that can hold up in the run, but where I see him really excelling, when it gets to 3rd and long, and he's just going to pin his ears back and go after the quarterback, that's where this guy excels. He can win with speed to power, but he also really, really thrives with just beating tackles with his quickness and acceleration off the line of scrimmage. And again, you're getting an athlete, right? Tight end who he's not going to play both, or I'd be surprised if he plays both ways, but you see the athleticism here. This is another thing that I'd probably note, right? If we pause the clip here, he's got long arms, and he's going to get his hands on a lot of footballs, and to turnovers, like you want to have a guy that can get his hands on footballs, tips and passes. That's exactly what Marquise Lightfoot can do as well. So you're getting a really good player here. What I want to take us to is what this class is coming together as. And again, like, as a Michigan fan, like, there's been some negativity on my timeline in terms of Michigan's class. Miami's sitting at what? You're getting about a top 30 class once they add Marquise Lightfoot, probably top 25 class or bordering on that. You're starting to get these kind of premier commitments, right? You got Kevin Riley, which was a massive recruiting win, Chance Robinson, Elijah Lofton. What we're waiting on is Mario Cristobal building that defensive line. He's been very vocal, and you saw it in the transfer portal, really going after guys on the defensive line in that transfer portal cycle. And then you take a look at the top targets in this 2024 class. It's all guys on the defensive line. That has kind of been a priority. He did a phenomenal job addressing the offensive line in 2023 cycle, bringing in a guy like Big Francis and Pancake Honcho. Now he wants to establish a little bit of physicality on the defensive side of the ball. And Marquise Lightfoot is a good first step, but you take a look at what this defensive line class could look like if the chips kind of start falling in a better way for Miami. And I want to talk about a guy like Justin Scott, who, again, committed to Ohio State last night. He was projected to go to Miami. I think a lot of Miami fans were excited about him. Say a guy like Leonard Taylor breaks out and really develops and to be a first-round draft pick. Justin Scott's probably taking a look at that program and saying, hey, that could be me in 3 years if I choose Miami. I think Jason Taylor is doing a really good job at least getting these guys on campus. And I think all Miami fans should probably know you're not going to land every single five-star that's been on campus in June. They had like 15 of them on campus. You're not going to win every single recruiting battle. Justin Scott was a priority. Man, if somebody like a Leonard Taylor can really show out in 2023 and go be a first-round NFL draft pick, which I think he's very capable of, I think a lot of Miami fans think he's very capable of, you're starting to see maybe a little flip watch. And that's kind of what I'm getting at, is a guy like Allis Robinson. He probably wants to go to Miami, but he's probably waiting on, it's between Georgia, who's won back-to-back national titles, and Miami, who you went 5-7. It wasn't pretty on the field last year. If he can see Mario Cristobal go win 8-9 games and start seeing this program go in the right direction, these guys clearly want to play for the U, right? But they want to make sure they're going on to a program that's going to be competing for national titles. And you look at what Miami brought in the 2023 class. You look at the youth on their roster. We talked about it in our spring breakdown of the Hurricanes. This is a team that in 2024 and in 2025 will certainly be competing for national titles. If they can show they're going in the right direction, a guy like Allis Robinson or a guy like David Stone, Colin Simmons, Dylan Stewart, who I know is Cristobal to Ohio State, probably taking a second look at the Hurricanes in terms of what they think they can do with this program. Now, I want to go back and Aiden Breland. I think he's probably, if you don't get Justin Scott, your next best guy is Aiden Breland on the board for Mater Dei. He's been on campus a couple times. I think Mario Cristobal and Jason Taylor working very hard. I know Alex Mirabal, I think, is in on that recruitment as well. He would be a phenomenal consolation prize. And you look at 24/7 Sports, he has him as the 6th national ranked player in the whole entire country, right? 38 on the composite, 6th nationally. He's a very interesting guy. LJ McCray is another interesting guy. And you're seeing Mario Cristobal really prioritize that defensive line. I want to take us down to a guy in Jaden Jackson, though, as well, from IMG Academy. And I forget the weekend he visited. We're going to scroll up here. From IMG Academy. He's a really interesting guy, too. 6'2", 300 pounds. Miami's done well getting guys on campus from IMG. You talk about getting that physicality on the defensive line. A guy like Jaden Jackson would certainly provide that. And I know it's early. I know this class in Miami for 2024 hasn't necessarily gotten off on the right foot, but I really do think that you get some of these guys on campus in the fall. You start winning some games like I think Miami should be winning in 2023. That's when you really start to see this class pick up. And I'm not saying they'll have a bad July. I think they'll get some commitments in this month and we'll break them down. But I think it could get really fun if Miami kind of dominates in the fall. And when it comes to, for these guys, you're going to see a lot more flip commitments than you've seen in previous years because guys normally don't commit this early. And when it gets to the season and coaching, the coaching carousel picks up and coaching staff shake up, that's when you see the decommitments and reopening their commitment process. If Miami's sitting there 8-4, 9-3 at the end of the regular season, clearly going in the right direction, there's a lot of buzz around the program. That's when I see Miami's kind of class maybe picking up. So Miami, you know Mario Cristobal is not giving up on Justin Scott. You know he's going to stay in contact. And if it ever comes to, hey, you're reopening up your commitment on a guy like Justin Scott or maybe a guy like David Stone if he ends up committing to Oklahoma, that's when it could be fun for the Hurricanes. So a really big one in Marquise Lightfoot, starting to build the trenches. You get a really, really raw but really gifted edge rusher coming down to Miami from the state of Illinois. Big time win for the Hurricanes. And again, it's going to just start heating up, I think, for Miami. Appreciate you guys checking the boys out as usual. Again, the Hurricane fans, you guys have shown a ton of love. So if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later.